Welcome to No Limits to Success, the podcast that empowers you to break barriers and achieve your dreams. Hosted by Les Moyer, this show brings you inspiring conversations with trailblazers who redefine success in business and life. Les interviews guests ranging from startup founders to industry titans, uncovering their hard-won wisdom, innovative strategies, and the mindset that propelled them to extraordinary heights. Get ready to unlock your potential and discover that in the world of success, there truly are no limits.
Welcome to No Limits to Success podcast. And today we are interviewing Junaid Ally, and he is a real estate agent based in Rochdale, South Queensland. Over 17 years of experience. He specialises in helping homeowners maximize their value in their sale and using innovative strategies. So really interested in some of your experience, Junaid, and just help us to understand, because I understand we've talked a lot about not just real estate and property, but business as well. And I guess let's have a conversation about how you operate.
So, 17 years in the game, lots of ups and downs. It has, I think after about 16 years, I realized, hey, you know what? I can't keep doing it the same way that I've always done it, which is, chase a listing, sell the listing, then go chase some more listings, then go, so it's catch and kill. It became very transactional. So the idea was to then create a business around the real estate market, which is to employ people to prospect for you, to employ people to do your administration, so that it allows you to do the things that you want to do. It frees you up to do what you're best at, which is talking to buyers and sellers. So one of my principal actually gave me when I started with them about 2 years ago, we had a good conversation, and he sat down and he says, if there's anything wrong with your business, always look at three things: quality, consistency, and volume. So I've adopted that three strategies into all aspects of my life. So even if it's my family life, say my relationship with my wife, right? If my relationship with my wife is struggling, I look, is the quality of time that I spend with her enough? Am I consistent with the amount of time that I spend with her? And is the volume that I spend with her enough as well? All right.
Same. Yeah, I like that. Right? I'm gonna, if you don't mind, I'm going to use that one. That's really good, because that applies everywhere. I think that what a lot of people don't do is really analyze and go over and see what part, and dividing things up into different KPIs and understanding those where those weaknesses are or strengths. Yeah.
So even with your business, like if your marketing is not working, so you've got to ask yourself, why am I not getting calls in? Is the quality of my marketing good? Is the consistency of communication there? And is the volume there? I mean, I could send out 20,000 letterbox drops and then not do anything for 6 months. I would rather send out 1,000 a week to the right people, to the area I'm targeting, than send out a blanket 20,000. So I remember there was an agent that started with us a long time ago, and he just believed in blanketing an area of 30,000 every month. And what happened was he just wasted a lot of money. Yeah. That's all he did, because consistency is key. People are, a lot of real estate agents, unfortunately, think they are celebrities because of the attention that they get, right?
Yes.
And I keep telling them, if you turn your phone off for 3 months, people will forget who you are, right? You're not,
you're only a celebrity as long as you're in front, right?
That's right. Right. So make sure you encapsulate those three principles of your business: quality, consistency, and volume, and you will then see where your problems are.
I think for small business or people who are anybody in business, especially if they're trying to grow, this reiterates the importance of measurement, of quantifying all of those things, because unless you know your numbers around those, you can't understand whether that quality or the quantity is right.
Where am I making mistakes? You'll be just lost in this whirlwind of so many things to do, And as we were talking earlier about working on the business and working in the business, it makes a big difference. You've got to free up that time to work on a strategy, create processes in place. There was a very popular agent that I don't want to drop names because it's not my place to drop their names, but he literally he was doing very well in real estate, but he was always up and down emotionally. It was an adrenaline rush every time he gets a listing, sells it, then he's got to chase up and down all over all the time. So one of the things he did was he says, "All right, I'm stopping real estate for the next 6 months." And what he did was he just did nothing but built processes around every single transaction. So from a lead gen, how he would structure the communication method to that particular. So if, say, for example, if somebody is selling in 12 months time, he knows, all right, every month they need to receive this information, right? If the person's not thinking of selling at all, then he breaks it down to, okay, it's a 3 monthly contact instead of a monthly. So every single step, every single person had a particular strategy built in accordance within a framework that he's created. When he lists a property, what are the processes involved? Does he get a building and pest inspection? Who attends it? Everything was structured. So all he had to do was then go, hey, this is your job, your role. Because majority of the people who start up, especially sales associates, prospectors, they don't really know what to do. And the agent doesn't understand what to tell them to do either.
Yes.
Because, when I first started real estate in 2007, my mom was in the industry for 20 years, right? And when she started, it was a very strange story, actually. I was about to get married I was selling mobile phone plans. And I was about to get married 3 months just before, 3 months before, the entire business I was working for shut down. So I had become redundant. And I was like, holy moly, I'm getting married in 3 months. I'm earning $600 a week. It's on the telemarketing, trying to, make leads and all that sort of stuff. What do I do? So because my mom, if you're in real estate, you don't really want your kid to get into real estate because you know how thankless a job it is. It's
That's
great
right.
financially, but you don't, like most people, the parents don't really try to push you. You can do something different. I wish I had done something different so you could do. So my mom said, okay, the one thing that she didn't know how to do because she's been doing it for that many years, at this point, it was 15 years in the game. She struggled to teach me what needed to be done. She didn't know how to prospect anymore because her leads would just come to her from the establishment that she's created in the industry. And so that was a big thing. So she called up a friend of hers at Ray White and said, hey, you know what? My son wants to start in real estate. Can you give him a shot? And I was young. I was 27 years old, or 26 years old at the time. I thought, all right, well, let's see how it goes. And I joined this Ray White office, and I started prospecting. I didn't know what I was doing, no idea. But I knew I could relate to people. I knew that I could have conversations with people and genuinely care about what they have to say. So I started door knocking. In the first week, I would have door knocked maybe 300 houses. And one person said, you know what? I'm thinking of selling my property. I'm moving to Narangba. I remember the sales so well. So we signed at then it was a 22A, and I signed that listing up. And in
First
24,
listing.
first, right? In the first week. And I took one of them, the agents with me to help me with all the paperwork because I had no idea what I was doing. Granted, now kudos to them for giving me the opportunity, but now you need a whole new level of skill set to be able to do this.
Yes.
And so, we put it on the market, and I sold it in 24 hours, thus paying for my honeymoon, right? Immediately, like I was going from a $4,000, or no, less than that actually, it was about $3,200 a month earner, to in 1 month earning $6,500 from a commission check. And I thought, holy moly, this is crazy amount of money that you can, as a young person at 26. And so we just went over and over and over again, like just kept on doing the same thing. And I remember what made my break in the world was, surprisingly, they don't do this much. They have this rostered, you sit at the front of the office, and anyone who comes to the window, you talk to them about real estate. They don't have that anymore, right? So everyone's in their own little offices now.
Yeah, and they've got admin out the front, and
Nobody's
they all want to hide away.
yeah. But there was this lady, Cheryl, who was standing and looking at the window. And I went outside and I had a good chat with Cheryl. And we said, Cheryl, what are you thinking about doing? She goes, I've got this property in Caribbean and I really want to sell it. I said, that's great. Why don't I come out and give you? And it turned out to be Cheryl and Noel, who were very big time builders, right? And they had this most beautiful property in Caribbean. And I went in, listed the property, did a fantastic job of negotiating, went into it, found a buyer. And at this point in time, that house is now worth $2 million. It was then worth 920. So it set the record for the area. The buyer who bought it wanted to sell their house. And then they also lived in Caribbean. So I sold their property for a price that was, at that time, for a single story, a $660,000 sale. For the remaining 10 years, they couldn't get that price again. So it sometimes does happen with luck. Like you do have scenarios where you just meet the right person at the right time. And it does make it, but as a real estate agent, what we forget.
I agree with that, but I think also you got to be in the right place.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think you make your, like, people always seem to have this perception of, oh, look, they're successful, right? But they don't see all the paddling under the water that happened on the way there. That's right, and it's hard, and it's work. And the fact is that you were in that place. You went out and you had that conversation.
Yeah.
Rather than going, I've got paperwork to do. And I think that the engagement and connection with people is one of the highest things in business, and people often forget it and try to over systemize and avoid talking to people.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the big things that can be lost in business now.
But you've also, and especially with your own business as well, one of the things we find that we struggle with is that we treat it like a business.
Yep.
We need to treat it like a job sometimes. Like, not all the time, but as a job. Like, you need to be like, what I've done now is I went on to ChatGPT, of all things. I said, this is what I want to earn. This is the sort of family life I want. I'm Muslim, so I want to maintain my faith and the way I do business and the way I pray. I want to make sure that. So can you structure me out a daily plan that will incorporate all these things? Mm-hmm. And so just boom, boom, boom. So my day starts up at 4:30 in the morning, where I get up for prayer. Then I go for a brisk walk around the area. I use this opportunity to letterbox drop in the morning. So I do 300 houses to letterbox drop. It helps me maintain my fitness, gives me a clear head in the morning. And then I come back.
Gives you a purpose to go walking too. I like that.
Yeah. I know that otherwise there's no point. I would never go out for the sake of doing it. If I know that there's some sort of work attached to it, I'll do it. So it worked out that way. So that's one of the things. And then, you spend time with the family in the morning, get the breakfast. So if you can structure your day, but keep it relatively flexible. So I know that from 7:30 to 12 o'clock, in most cases, I am prospecting for new business.
Yes.
From 1 p.m. to 4 p.m., it's dealing with existing business. So in the morning, it's lead gens. In the afternoon, it's deals, it's closing. But don't take away from the fact, and this is where we sometimes get busy doing the selling, and we forget about connecting with the people that are going to the market in the next 3 months or 4 months or 6 months. And now with AI, it's made our life so much easier. So AI is installed into my database. Yeah. So what it does is, if, for example, a seller is checking their house price, or they are searching through realestate.com or domain.com, it'll flag it in my database and say, hey, this person's doing real estate stuff. So give them a call. So what I'm doing then is I'm speaking to people who are already in the real estate mode. If I'm speaking to you, Les, and you have got no intention of selling your house, you've been, you're just carrying on your daily life. You're watching here and there what properties are selling for. You really don't care like it doesn't really faze you whether this person sold for this much. It's a nice little, oh my God, it's so wow. And that's it. You forget
Yep.
about it, So it's about the quality of information you provide as well. You can't just, one of the things I do with my AI as well is say if someone is located on my database and the property sells within a 500-meter radius, my AI will send out an immediate text message to say, hey, this property sold for this much. Thinking of selling, give Junaid a call. Simple as that.
Perfect.
So
yeah. And I think that's about maintaining relationships as best as you can, and that applies in all your fields, because if you're not there in front of them and they're thinking of you, then somebody else is making that approach. Whether that's a long-term client or not.
Sorry.
That's with long-term clients or not.
And it's hard. Look, I'll be real. In real estate, it's very hard to maintain long-term relationships on the basis that most people in our areas don't sell for a good solid 10 years.
Yes.
There was a young fellow who came and asked me, Junaid, the most recent listing I got, actually, he asked me, Junaid, how did you get this listing? I said, well, for the last 12 years, I've sent them a thank you. I've sent them market reports every 3 months. I've given them a call close towards, the holiday time, find out how they're doing. Waved at them at the local shopping center, sent them SMS updates for 12 years before that has eventuated into anything.
Yeah.
So sometimes you've just got to be patient. The work that you're doing is the right thing, and just be patient. Wait.
And I think that's one core of ours is if you give value first, right?
Mm.
And that's where if you're giving value and they get to know, like, and trust you, and that's what a core relationship's valued, and that's why they're going, when they're looking to sell, they're always probably going to get comparisons. But if you're outstanding, they know, like, and trust you. That's when the needle leans your way, right? And that's what your aim is over that.
And being relevant at that given time, you've got to be relevant. Like, I've had one thing I don't do is I don't sell properties for very close friends of mine, because then it changes the approach. I used to get really upset about when they didn't use me, but now I understand there is like when you're a real estate agent, you are a real estate agent at that particular moment. When I'm out with the guys and having a good time with them, I don't want them thinking, why isn't he selling my property while he's sitting there? You know what I mean? I don't want that conversation to be had. So now if it is a personal friend, a very close friend, I try to refer it on to someone else.
And I think in that situation too, like it's always a very emotional, rather than say a vehicle or something like that. Housing and our homes are an emotional transaction, as much as, especially if you've been living in it for a period of time. It's an emotional transaction, and that comes into the transaction that you're doing. And if you're trying to give them advice that doesn't necessarily match, then you're going to get an emotional conflict, and you don't want that in a friendship.
And remember as well, a lot of these sellers, and rightfully so, they want the maximum sale price. So we can call it greed, we can call it whatever it is, but most people have that. And if it's a close personal friend, they don't want to show you that side of themselves either.
Yeah, good point.
They've got a certain image of you, and you've got a certain image of them that they don't want to taint. So imagine they're sitting in front of you, and all of a sudden, the partners are yelling at each other. It changes the dynamic of the relationship as well. There's a lot of privacy that people keep to themselves. There's your public perception of who you are. There's your private perception, your family, and then there's your personal perception of who you are, right? So those three different things have there's different secrets, there's different ways of dealing with scenarios. Your friend might only be showing you his public perception or even a personal perception. But when it comes to um, how he wants to be displayed at home, it's a different ballgame. And he knows that an agent that he doesn't know will come in, do the job, and then he's out of his life. Really, he's not going to be best friends with him. Whereas then I know the intricacy of their entire family dynamic. It's a different ballgame as well.
Yeah.
So I understand now. It took me a few years to get over the feeling of betrayal. To be honest, that was like if your friend didn't use you, you're like, holy moly, like
Does
why
he
are
not trust me about it? Raises all those questions, right?
and this is the problem with I guess real estate in any business is you do take it personally because it is your business. You've put your heart and soul into it.
Yeah.
So you do.
Yeah, we're attached to our businesses as much as they're attached to their houses.
That's right. That's right. Right. So it's a very tricky scenario. You've got to really take away the fact that your self-worth is not dependent on how other people perceive you, because everyone is entitled to their own opinion, right? Just as I'm entitled to my opinion of someone else, it's a personal opinion. They're entitled to theirs of me, and I can't be upset about that. I can't change. I can't make everyone like me. You got to like yourself.
That's surely, Junaid.
Oh man, let me tell you, it's a hard
99% of people, right? Yeah, yeah.
I'm not, that's the hard part. That is the hard part. Like your self-worth takes a hit in this game because your career is publicly displayed. When you sell a property, it's all over the place, right?
Yes,
that's how you market. When you don't sell a property, haven't seen your face around for so long. What happened?
Yep.
Then you question, you haven't seen my face around? Oh, have I done enough marketing? Or maybe I need to up my game. So you're running on adrenaline all the time.
Yes.
So you gotta sit back, relax, give yourself a goal. So say, so I generally sell 20 to 30 properties. That's my goal, is to sell 20 to 30 properties a year. I don't want to sell any more than that because then it damages my relationship with my family. It damages the relationship I have with myself and my creator, if that's what you guys follow. But it's that's what it comes down to. So if that damages, if that can cause some serious damage, then you've got to really structure your day and structure your business about what's your goal, what you want to achieve, and then follow that. And don't be disappointed. Don't be disappointed if you don't get something. It's you do your best. That's all you got.
I think that's very true, and I like that. I think it's very important to put things into perspective. Where what you've got to make sure that your priorities are done, and if not most people, family is a priority, but what has a tendency to happen is people are always, if you have a business of your own, they're always wanting you, right? So you've got to put a boundary there and create the space for your family, or for the important things in your life, whether that's religion and yourself. I think is a big thing too. I think a lot of people, especially small business owners, entrepreneurs, they have a tendency to forget about how valuable their health, their mindset, their whole being is, and allowing time to give themselves some self-care. And it sounds a bit airy fairy, but I think that if you're not looking after yourself and your greatest asset, your mind, your time is your most important. What do you call it? What you've got to give. Sorry, that's
well,
your
you're right.
Your time.
Like,
sorry.
No, you're right. Like you've got to really focus on, because you can't give from an empty cup.
That's right.
You've got to really sit there every morning. Like I do some positive affirmations every morning. Nice. Because we hear so much of negativity out there in the marketplace, right? All you guys care about is this, or you got, this is the general consensus of what real estate agents are. people assume that we do very little to make what we do. Um, I would love someone to spend a day in the life of us, what we do, to be able to see it. But
And the weekend, I see you guys out there, and it's just like, yeah, they're all the ones seeing you in your suits on a Saturday morning, at open homes and things like that. And it's like, no, you don't want to be there, but
yeah,
that they just see people driving around in their flash cars, and
well, that's why I drive a Mitsubishi. Nobody can ever judge me on that.
that's but
um,
sorry, carry on. Yeah, well, I think priorities in making those times for the time we allocate, because at the end of the day, we're never going to be on our deathbed going, "Oh, I wish I'd have done more in my business." Right?
no,
Right. It's
you,
something
you,
it's
you'd
something
really,
that we want to leave a legacy, or we want to be able to give and build something, but it can't be the biggest thing in your life.
you'll find that when people make a comment about, some people who take it personally when somebody makes a comment, um, they make a very passing comment. It's not a belief that they hold on to. You tend to worry about what they've said more than they worry about what they've said.
That's very
And
true.
sometimes you got to really take a step back and go, all right, man, let people have that opinion. Like, it's okay for them to think a certain way. It's like and I've seen people who've said, I'll never use that agent. I hate him. He's too out there. But when it comes to selling, they generally connect with that person because they have a public perception of what that person has created. So they may have seen for example, like a little letterbox drop with a message that has a mistake on it, for example, right? Um, you'll find that people will go, "Oh, I'll never use someone like this." But 2 years down the track, they've forgotten about that completely, and now they're meeting this person for the first time. Even their preconceived ideas have now changed. So sometimes it's even when you're meeting people, if you feel that there's a rift between you and someone else, I'm happy to pick up the phone and say, "Hey, Les, we haven't been talked in a while. Has there been anything that I've done that made you feel this way?" Oh no, Junaid, I've just been really busy. No problems, man. I just wanted to connect with you again and let you know that this is what's happening out there. This is what's going on. If you ever need my services, do give me a call. Simple as that.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, because people don't hate you as much as you think they hate you. Most people are apathetic, right?
yes.
And you gotta
And most
realize
people are worried about themselves, right?
that's right.
And that's not in a negative way, but they're
That's
in
right.
their own lives, and whatever's affecting them at the
Yeah.
time is
People
being
worry too much how other people perceives you, but it doesn't make a difference. Their perceptions can change and shift with every different interaction you have with them.
That's right. And
So,
and there's certainly, I've seen so many times when somebody's perception, when they learn or understand something or have an experience that that affects them, it changes their whole world. It
yeah,
changes their understanding of the world, and then it brings them into a new perception. And that's what happens as we grow up, right? It's
yeah,
so,
yeah, yeah.
what you knew 17 years ago, you go and try to teach yourself again, but that's
What do they say?
hindsight.
When you're 40, you stop caring what other people think about you. When you're 50, no, sorry, when you're 60, you stop caring what people think. When you're 60, you realize nobody was thinking about you anyway. That's a
I was fortunate to have that realization a few years ago. I went, "Oh, okay."
like
So,
it really is like nobody. You
yeah,
think that you're some like other than your family that hold dear to you and your close community that's around you. Nobody generally cares what you do.
and
Uh, it,
you
it,
know, you've got a great personality, and you're very approachable, and you approach people probably um, quite well. I was talking to a real introvert yesterday, actually,
mm,
and having this conversation where it was like, nobody. If you notice, nobody seems to talk in an elevator, right?
so
And I'm little bit of a. I've, I've learned to get out of my own shell. I used to be an introvert myself, and I'll always talk to people and say hi, and smile at them, and generally you get a smile back. And but I was talking to this person, and it wasn't a negative thing, but her thinking was, "Oh, I'm I'm probably going to interrupt their life, right? As in, they're in their own thing. Oh, I don't want to be what do you call it? I don't want to impose on them.
Yes.
And
You
that's the
wanna know that, yeah.
perception that's the perception we have. But you know what? They're just inside themselves, and quite often somebody saying hello makes their day better. And so sometimes we've just got to break down that belief about what everybody else is thinking and just be out there and be ourselves. And that gives so much more, and it makes people's lives better. And that's my aim, is to just go, okay, well, forget about what they're thinking, and let's see what they're thinking.
Yeah. You just have a conversation. Like, my wife gets upset with me whenever I go to the airport or wherever we're sitting out. She goes, "Why are you talking? We're right here. Why are you talking to random people?" I'm like, "No, I'm just smiling at them, saying hello. How you doing?" Look, it's just, you don't be. People are people. People are just going through their days. They're not scary. They're just lovely human beings. About
But when you
5 years
break
ago,
when you break down that barrier, right?
Mhm.
Like, how you find that more than 50% of people are open and willing to have a conversation.
Yeah,
But most people are just walking around.
I must admit, mainly 35 plus. I've
Yes.
noticed they're open to conversation. Under 35, I think they're, with the way technology has been, they're a little bit more. They're a bit taken aback when you have a conversation. They don't expect that level of interaction. Whereas someone from 35 plus, we went to we came from that place, going to anyone and speaking to everyone.
Yeah, true.
What I used to love doing when I was younger was I used to get on my motorbike and I ride out to a remote town, say, that was Lowood back in the days.
Yep.
And just make friends with the locals. I just go down the street, talk to people, get back on the bike and go back home. Like, it was just just a random thing that I used to like doing. Is just meet random people and just enjoy that moment. But yeah,
I can also see why you're successful as a real estate agent then too.
yeah.
That's good. I just think it's interesting, like seeing other people's perception, talking about other people's perception, and just breaking down those barriers. I think that's important in life, because I think human connection is the one thing that we have that we just don't. I think we're losing. So I know that I'm very conscious of your time. I've had a great time
Yeah, no,
talking
I'm
with you.
sending him a message. Just
Um, if anybody's in the area, mate, I'll put in your contact details in there, into the podcast. But you have a great day. Thank you so much for
thank you,
having
Les.
us.
And
We will catch up shortly.
I'm sure we will. I'm sure we will. Nobody's better building a pest inspector than you at the moment. So
Thank you.
thank you, Les. Appreciate all your help, man.
You too. Bye.
Have a lovely day.
Thank you for listening to No Limits to Success with Les Moyer. We hope today's episode has sparked new ideas and motivation for your own journey. Remember, the only ceiling on your success is the one you create in your mind. To connect with Les's guests and explore their work, check out the links in our show notes. And if you want to dive deeper into the No Limits mindset, visit our website at nolimitstosuccess.com.au for exclusive content, resources, and upcoming events. And don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a review. It helps others discover the show. Until next time, keep pushing boundaries and redefining what is possible. And remember, there are no limits to success.